I teach at Mount Druitt TAFE for New South Wales, and I always have fun with new classes because they look at me and go, has he had too many shocks or something, I just tell them, look, you guys won't know whether I'm being electrocuted or I'm not doing what I normally do, so don't worry about it, okay? I love Steady Eddie's talk. One day, Steady Eddie's great joke about he won a disco dancing competition and was just crossing the floor to get a drink. So, I use things like that to just formalise, and then they all laugh and it's all over, And one kid was really obnoxious, so I said, listen mate, I can swear at you, you can't do anything about it because I'm disabled. I want to talk a little bit about career development. I've got a master's in career development. I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to be a little bit presumptuous here and say, look, that there's a lot of parents out there, who see their kids having problems with this. My parents did. It's funny, my parents are gone now. I would love to ask them questions about what they went through because they're great people of faith and they just never gave up on me. And and a lot of parents out there are saying, how's my kids going to have relationships? How they're seeing them in this place that they're at now. How they're going to have a normal job? How they're going to have a career? And I'll tell you, you get there. And I've dedicated my life now to career development as part of my teaching to help, and particularly, especially specialising in Tourette's because I've lived it and I know that there's a place for all of us. And basically, as somebody well said today, it's not your disability, it's your ability. And we rock at some things, we really do. If we can find out what that is. Well, I'll give you an example. Like, I went through high school in the 70s. Nobody knew what Tourette's was. It was shocking. I was spat on, kicked around. Even the teachers, some of the teachers were very sympathetic. Some gave me a hard time because they didn't know what it was. Went through, a long story short, I went through 12 psychiatric wards, was drugged down on haloperidol and Valium to the point where I couldn't even move, and I projectile vomit, and I was just, long story, okay? Had all these problems, had a lot of problems anyway. But the point is, I won't want to dwell on that because you've heard other people talk about school days and everything. But it's interesting that one of the things that they say is that statistically, they say that how you're treated at school does have an effect on your working life. And what we need to do is we need to realise that school is a certain way of teaching. And they've got to do that. It's a certain way of teaching. And that's fine. You can't look after every single person, every single way of doing it. But what I found, and I'm talking off the top of my head, I've left my notes behind, so I'm just going to go for it, okay? Wow, okay, yeah, this could be a long day. So what I found is from my learning style as an educator, as a person with a degree in education, I've learned about learning styles. And for Tourette's people, one of the most important things is you find out what your bias is in learning. Find out what your learning style is. Because you find out how you learn. For instance, look at me, I'm a musician, I write songs, I can remember lines from jokes, I can remember lines from movies. I'm an audio listener. So for me, when I discovered that, it changed my life because when I was doing electrical exams, what I would do is I would record all my formulas on tape and listen to them in the car. When I was in the exam, I would hear them in my head. So for me, that was learning how I learn was a major breakthrough for me. And I would say to young people particularly with Tourette's, find out how you learn because you're good at learning some way, somehow. Find out that way. Now, I'm not. So the important thing is that many of your parents who are thinking about the kids and wondering how that's going to work out. Well, it works out. It works out. There's not a lot of studies on how people with Tourette's go in later life after school, but the few that there are, it's astonishing. Like the good doctor said, some end up goalkeepers for teams, and there's brain surgeons, there's pilots, there's fighter pilots. There's a guy who used to play for the NBA in America. He used to get out foul all the time. They used to have to stop the game. And they had to adapt the game for him because he kept yelling out foul. Right? People are extraordinarily successful. And sometimes they're successful once they get out of school. Okay? School is not the be-all and end of everything. I've got a daughter in the HSC at the moment. It's very stressful. Now, the HSC, look, it's important you do your absolute best at school, but if you can't do it, don't worry about it. Look at all the millionaires we know in Australia. Many of them came out with the Murray River scheme from places where they couldn't even speak English, and they're multi-millionaires. Look at Richard Branson's, the people of the world who are entrepreneurs who didn't fit in at school. Some of them did better. Some did better because they didn't do well at school. Okay, so what I'm saying is, it's important you do, everywhere you are, you do the absolute best you can. But then, don't worry about it. Some people worship the HSC as a state like it's some sort of God, and it's not worth it. Okay? Do your absolute best at it, and then don't worry about it. There's a plan for you. Okay, I want to talk about, I'm not going to talk so much about my story today. I'm going to talk more about what I do with career development. And I want to talk about, I've developed a series called Getting Your Foot in the Door, and I want to talk specifically about Tourette's syndrome. About Tourette's syndrome and ways we should get our foot in the door for jobs. Okay, and one of the things is, okay, statistics tell us that most of the jobs in the world these days are not actually advertised. In fact, in the United States, they reckon about 13% of jobs are advertised. Everything else is got through relationship, through friends, through hearing about something, or just knocking on the door. Now, the great news for people with Tourette's is that the stats stack up for us. Because, I'm going to talk about this, online research shows that narrow applicant fields give employers opportunities to review. So what they do is they look at places like LinkedIn now. So many people are using LinkedIn and online stuff to search for applicants, okay? So there's a place to make yourself look really good. I can't fake it all the time. Okay? Many jobs are obtained through relationships. And I found it through career development, it's relationship. They say in real estate it's position. And in career development, it's relationship. As an electrician, I had my own business. And I got on very well with people. And I could screw up badly and they wouldn't mind. If they hate you, you screw up once, you're gone. But if they love you, you can make a lot of mistakes. And I'm going to talk about that here. Okay, they did a survey of CEOs in Canada, 25,000 of them. And they said, what are you looking for in a young worker who's never worked before? These are the top things. People skills, relationship building, communication skills, problem solving skills, analytical abilities, leadership skills. Now these are some of the things that Tourette's people develop naturally because we, under the screw sometimes, we actually develop good relationships. We actually get good with people because we've got to explain things all the time. We actually develop our personalities. And this is actually a real plus. Because you know something here? They wanted you to be good, less than 15% of them wanted you to be good at the job. It was all about relationship. Get on with people, leadership skills, doing that. It's really interesting. And this is 25,000 CEOs in Canada, and 15% of them wanted you to be good at the job they were hiring for on the first time. They wanted you to be teachable, they wanted you to have great attitude. Enthusiasm, you know. And so when I'm dealing with young people, I always say, are you good with relationships? Because you all know, don't you? All you adults in the room know, if you're good with relationships, you're halfway there in life, aren't you? Okay? So it's relationship. And one of the things I find is Tourette's people are very good with relationships quite often. Because they've had to negotiate. We've negotiated some hard yards. We've negotiated some hard places. And we've learned to work around things and deal with people that are bullies and things like this. We learn to negotiate. We learn to do these things. And these are terrific things that help. And sometimes we develop more than the average person. Okay. Finding information about the employer. When you're going to go for a job. Now, the first thing I say is research where you want to go. Research where you want to go. Research it. Remember, an interview comes from the Greek word that means a two-way street. An interview is not them just interviewing you. You're interviewing them to see if you want their job. Okay? So you've got to go with the attitude that you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. Now I was listening to I did a negotiation course, and one of these guys was one of the guys that got some of the people out of Iran during the Iran crisis. He said he's gone into negotiations where he's had nothing bad with it because of confidence, he's fainted. The world bows to confidence. The world bows to confidence. How many people have you met that are really confident? They've really got nothing behind what the confidence, but they're confident. They just believe in who they are and what they do. And when the world bows to confidence. And I've learned this over the years. I was terrified. As a teenager, I was terrified of people. I used to hold my breath in class, so if they asked me a question, I could yell out the question because I sounded so bad. I had all these problems. I was terrified of people. And the funny thing is, now I'm in a people job. It's funny how it just turns around, doesn't it? You know? And I say to young people, get a plan. You'll never end up where you expect to end up, but you end up somewhere because you had a plan. If you don't have a plan, you end up nowhere. So get a plan. Have a plan. You'll end up somewhere better than when you thought. Okay. Now, Try to get in the mind of the receiver. Like when you read, say you're reading a piece of the Bible, you're reading a piece of literature or something, you're thinking, okay, who's the writer and who are they writing to? So many people have this idea in career development, and I do career development across the board, not just Tourette's. They have this idea, if I send out 1,000 resumes, someone will bang on the door and bing me for a job. It doesn't work that way. Generics doesn't work. You've got to think about get in the mind of the person. Remember, sales is all about solving a problem. If you don't solve a problem, you have no sale. You've got to solve a problem. So what does the person who's hiring want to solve? And be that person. As I quite often say, are you the person the employer you're looking for is looking for? Be that person. Find out what they want and fill the gap. Okay, so one of the great ways you can do this and get ahead when you're sending out CVs and covering letters is, guys, what you can do is ring up the contact person with a really intelligent question. And they go, what's your name? Oh, yeah. You're 15% more under their nose already. Okay? Another thing I do on my CVs, depending on the job, is I put a nice picture of myself. Now, obviously if you're going for KPMG or a big accountancy firm or a big business or an MBA in business or something, you've got to have a very professional, you don't do it or you have a very professional picture. But if you're going for something like what I'm doing with career coaching or teaching, they want a nice person. Hey, that guy looks nice, and so what you're doing is you're saying I'm a personal person because it's a person type job. You weren't saying all these things, you relate yourself to the job. You think, what's the person looking for? Are they looking for a team player? If they're looking for an excellent accountant, you don't necessarily do that. But if they're looking for someone in social services or something like that where you've got to get on with people, well then you tailor it that way. You get in the mind of the person that you're tailoring it to. Okay? Now this is an important one. I do not believe, we discussed this at the camp actually, I think it's a good point. I do not recommend you mention your Tourette's in the covering letter or the CV. Wait till the interview. They'll know about it when you get there. But the thing is, they're trapped. And they have to meet your heart. If you present your heart first, they'll go, this person's incredible, they've overcome all these things, they've done all this stuff. Wow, maybe this is someone we need in our company. There are people have pre-ideas of what Tourette's is about. You know, we're talking about, a good professor talked about coprolalia. Everyone thinks you've got to scream and shout and swear at everybody. That's, most of us don't do that. I've gone through stages, I've gone through just about every tick there is. I'm 56 years old and just about done everything. Okay? So, and the swearing one I've gone through, and I'm part of a religious circle, so that was very interesting. So it's really pretty funny. So, you're in a little mass and you're swearing away, it's really quite interesting, You don't know whether you need an exorcist or what you need, But the thing is, people have preoccupations of what you're, predispositions of what you're about. So when I recommend it for people with Tourette's, don't mention it until you get to, and then they're basically going to give you the 20-minute interview, and they'll meet your heart. And the thing is, what we have is, with Tourette's people, is we have great hearts. We have strong hearts that survive this far. So people meet your heart, and they see. And how many people have said it today? They see through the whole. They see through the whole thing. Once they meet your heart, they look at the person, not the Tourette's. And I really believe that's an important thing. Okay, as I said, you're selling you when you get to the interview. You're saying to them, you cannot do without me. I'm the person for this job, and I think I've got what it takes. Remember, demonstrate the outcomes. Find out what the outcomes they would want for that company or that job. What are the outcomes they want? And then be the answer to those outcomes. Demonstrate ability to solve problems. Statistically, the whole world's changing. If you haven't noticed, so half the jobs that exist now won't exist in 20 years. Okay, I'm in the electrical trade. It's surviving to a certain extent. But when I was in hardware, selling hardware 30 years ago, half the tools I sell, they don't use anymore. We had a whole wall of sacking needles. Sacking used to be a trade. We used to make sacks. There used to be a whole trade making sacks. And look at things like horseshoes and farriers and all that. It's all being imported now. It's hard to get jobs done now. So half the jobs are going to disappear. But one of the things that everyone says, if we can train our young people to be problem solvers and transitional problem solvers, and you can adapt to anything, that's the only thing that won't become irrelevant. The only real skill that won't become irrelevant is being a problem solver and someone that can transition and see a thing and work it. Okay? So that's what you want to teach your young people. Don't, obviously, when you until they decide to offer you the job, you don't talk about money. Okay? That's one of the things I always say. Don't talk about money. Don't talk about money until they offer you the job, and then they want you, they decide you're the person for the job, and then you talk about money. A lot of young people charge and go, oh, I want this. And they go, well, we're not paying that, so see you later. And the other reason I love my photo on, you obviously got to use the sermon about whether you use your photo on a CV, but when you've done the interview and they're going through the 20 or 30 applicants they've interviewed, they come up to the front and go, oh, that guy, he's got Tourette's. Yeah, he was really funny. He had some great things to say. It's another visual tie to you. Because when we go through CVs, half the time, unless they've written notes, they won't know who was who. So one of the things I do is I love the phone call. I literally ring up the job and say, I just want to know, does your company do this? And what do you see in your company doing this? And they go, well, that's already a challenging question. What's your name? I'm Dave Brendan. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably down pad. And then when the CV comes and they go, oh, that's the Dave Brendan guy. He asked a really intelligent question. 20% more in, and 15% more with the photo. So you've got to know the basis, okay? Now, I know I'm not talking about Tourette's here, I'm talking generally, but this is what I teach. Okay. If handwriting is a problem, application forms. Okay, now this is for Tourette's people. If the application form is a problem, photocopy as many as you can and practice it. People will judge you on your handwriting, okay? If you can, type it in. Find a way of screening it, type it. There are even some programs will let you take a PDF and un-PDF it so you can actually type it in and put it in, okay? And then just sign it. Or get your parent or somebody else to handwrite it for you. And then you just sign it. There's nothing wrong with cheating with that, right? It's just that you don't want to be prejudged. You want to get into that interview. 85% of the process is the interview. Really, the CV and the covering letter are just a brochure to get you in the door. They're the foot in the door. That's all they get you to the interview. That's all you're doing. Okay. So type out poor handwriting. Use black ink, and remember they probably photocopy it. So make it good and strong. Okay. Okay. The other thing is always be honest. I mean, anybody who's employed anybody will know that some people embellish. You know, what was that to say? A guy who pumps petrol is a petroleum distribution technician. And a guy that's unemployed is a government recreational surveyor. And like there's old things like this. They talk about and people embellishing. You will be asked questions on what you write. So guys, be absolutely honest. Honesty is the best policy. Absolutely honest. Okay. So when you're going in, it's what you see on your CV or your covering letter is what you're going to be asked about. So make sure that you don't use any big words you don't understand, because they're going to ask you. I can't spell to save my life, so I don't use big words to say. You know, we even have words in electrical that I can't spell. I teach it, right? Okay. Referees should have good knowledge of you. Referees, get good referees, and remember, character, willingness, and work ethic. Number one. Those are the number ones. We have a saying in the trade: if you've got a bad attitude, there's nothing we can teach you. If you've got a good attitude, there's nothing we can't teach you. Attitude, attitude, attitude. And because you've got Tourette's and you're going for a job, they'll say, here's a person who's been through a lot, they've got this far in school and they've got Tourette's. Wow. Turn a negative into a plus. Turn it into a positive. And be enthusiastic, be fun, be interesting, but be to the point. Try and research the company that you're going for so that you know as much about that company as you need to know. You can ask intelligent questions that show you've researched. Load the bases, right? Okay, hobbies and interests. Obviously, highlight your personality. Highlight your personality. Obviously, you don't need a hobby to be so like I go overseas to play football for 3 months a year because you won't get the job, right? But if you've got hobbies and interests, it shows you have a life. And these days, employees are looking for people with lives. They're not looking for people who want to spend 10 hours in the office every day. They're looking for people who have a life, who have a balance. Okay, make sure you encourage addresses in the communication. Be yourself and present your best self. Okay, Give content. Now I'm going to show you mine. I'm going to show you one of the ones I locked up. Now, this is my trick. Who reads newspapers here or headlines on the internet? Okay. Now, what makes you keep reading that particular article? Does the headline grab you or not? Yeah. Okay. You've got between 20 and 40 seconds. Statistically, you've got between 20 and 40 seconds for the look at your CV or recovering letter. So this is what I do. Okay. So now. So, you want to tell them, give them the headlines, give them a exciting headline. I'm the man for the job. One man, one desire. You know, there was that movie guy used to do, you know, against the odds, risky law, you know, commando, you know, all that stuff. You know, they go, this guy's so exciting, we've got to read on, you know. Okay, so I give them a exciting headline. And what I do is on my CV, I have, immediately after my details, I have 4 sentences telling them what I've done, what I've achieved, and what I can do for them, including the outcomes I think they want. Okay, little trick. They'll read the headlines and go, I'm going to read more, see what else this guy can do. Okay? Give the statistics about your achievements. Don't just say, oh, I did blah, blah, blah. If you increase sales by 25% and you've already got a job, say, if you worked at McDonald's and you won employee of the month 3 months in a row, tell them you were the top employee 3 months in a row. Tell them that. Give them readable outcomes. Statistics if you can. If you were in a previous job and you've got Tourette's and you increase sales by 10%, tell them, I increase sales over the year by 10%. Give them outcomes. People want outcomes. When you're selling, people want outcomes. Look, you've got to include people in your story, but people don't care who you are so much. They care what you can do for them, first of all. Now, they will meet you with Tourette's and they will love you and care for you, but whether they'll give you the job, it depends on whether you can answer their questions, answer their problems. Okay? And if you don't have a work history yet, get one. One of the most important things is I say to young people, they say, oh, I've never worked in a job. What have you volunteered in? Why don't you go to, if you want to be in advertising, find the company you dream about working for and go and work for them. Give them 2 months. During your school holidays, go and work for them for free and get a reference. A lot of people say, I'm not working for free, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? If you haven't got a work history, you've got to get one. People want experience. I continue to deal with young people coming out with degrees who've got no experience and they're having a real hard time because they've got to do internships and stuff to get some experience, get some runs on the board. Because, with all due respect, degrees and trade certificates and everything are wonderful, but if you've got no experience, they still won't touch you. You've got to show them that you can do the job. So volunteer. Guys, volunteer. And very few people will turn you down if you give them free labour. Very few people will. You say, I want a reference at the end. If I pleased you, I want a reference at the end. And I've seen young people with 5 or 6 references from voluntary organisations end up with fantastic jobs. Because they say, well, if you've done this off your own bat, we want you. Because if you've done it for free, we certainly want you. Okay? Here's mine, okay? Here's an example of one of the ones I've done, okay? I forget what job I was going for, but in the past 38 years, I've excelled in mentoring and training people. I'm motivated, blah, blah. My mission is to assist young people in developing abilities. I've considerable success in teaching, identifying the needs of hundreds of students, then developing adapting courses to suit their requirements in different organisations. So I've shown that I'm pliable. I've shown I've worked with a lot of different stakeholders. I've shown that I've personally, individually found out the problems or worked with individual students and done this, that and the other. Now, there's a lot, if you're looking for someone, there's a lot in there. I've deliberately worded it to say a lot in a little. Now that's your headline. They'll read that and they'll read that and they'll go, if they're not turned on by that, they won't keep reading what you got. If they're turned on by that, they'll go, I'm going to see what else this guy's got. Okay? I hope this is helpful. I mean, is this helpful? I mean, I'm sort of doing a very rushed job here, but I'm trying to show you that. And the great thing about it is, guys, Tourette's people have excellent chances of prosperity. Excellent chances. I believe there's a place for everyone in the world, and I believe that everyone's got a position where they're capable of things. And we just got to find those things. And in career development, what I do is I spend my time finding out where their strengths are and so to those strengths. Okay, very quickly, the curriculum vitae, 2 sides of an A4 paper, don't make it longer. They want to read a lot, you want to say a lot and a little. Okay, that's my opinion. You can go, if it's a very technical job, scientific job, you can go longer if they really want specific things. You know, it's a very big typical job, like a heavy scientific job where you want to show papers you've written and blah blah blah. Fine. But if you're the first time student going for a first job with Tourette's or something, show your hobbies, show the clubs you work for, do all this stuff, and just do that. Okay. Part-time jobs are amazing. I get kids coming in and say, I've only worked at McDonald's. Well, you've worn a uniform, you've worked on time, you've worked with cash, you've worked with people. What else do you want? Well, there's very few greater things for a young person to work at McDonald's or KFC or something like that. Because if they survive those jobs and they turn up on time and they do a couple of years there, it's very, very important. Very important because those people are rigid and there's a joke out there that McDonald's can make the perfect hamburger and their parents can't get them to make their bed. Yeah? And that's the thing. So, I mean, absolutely. So, okay, so don't be ashamed of what you've done. It speaks about you, who you are as a person. Okay. Your personal statement gives you the opportunity to tell who you are. Make sure the spelling's good. Get someone to proofread it, okay? I'm a hopeless speller. I'm a hopeless reader, a hopeless speller. Okay, so make sure someone proofreads it well. Limit to one side of an A4 for your personal statement. Explain clearly why you want the job and what excites you about the job. Okay, read the details of the company to reference anything in the company you can in the letter. And the rest is do something that sounds, be prepared to answer questions. Don't do something that sounds good to you, but don't use something in a statement that sounds good to you, but you do not understand. Aim to convey enthusiasm, okay? When they're hiring young people with Tourette's, they're going to be looking for enthusiasm and a can-do attitude. And look, guys, the biggest thing I've learned about it is it's a yes, an attitude. I can do this. It covers a multitude of problems. If they see you're enthusiastic, like I said, with a good attitude, you're in. Okay? And sometimes your Tourette's is actually a plus, not a minus, because they see your integrity and your character growing. Okay, question and answer time. I'm just about out of time. Anybody want to ask me anything? Sir?
You said that you've had various different tics throughout your life. Have you ever experienced talking in different accents?
I'm horrific at that. If I'm talking to Americans, I'll start talking in an American accent. Yeah, I know what I mean, pal. Yeah. I'm not very good at American accent, but I do. I find I mimic people by accident, and they get offended. They go, "Oh, you're making fun of me." Well, I am actually, but don't worry about it. But no, yes, I am actually, yes.
I just wanted to comment on when you said talking about honesty, and ask you about, should you let an employer know that you have Tourette's at some point? If it's not going to put you in danger or anybody else, should you, we're just in the process. I've got to say, the honesty thing for going for a job with kids. My son went for a job a couple of weeks ago and they were in group interviews. And he said, Mum, I don't think I've got a chance. There were all these uni students there, and he said, we were asked what we're passionate about. He said, everybody else except for me said gaming. Because it was for a gaming store. And I said, well, no, that shows that you're honest. You're not going to say just what they want to hear. But I'm curious about, should he tell them, it's just, yeah.
Okay, you bring up a very good point about safety, OHS. Very important. There's some things that maybe are not so well tailored to Tourette's. For instance, one of the problems is I met a young lady who wanted to be a preschool teacher, and she had bad coprolalia at the time. Now that might be problematic. Okay, OHS. If you've I've got symmetry. I was going to talk to the good professor actually. I can walk on lines, painted lines on concrete. I can feel the lines through my feet. My brain actually manufactures the line. I've actually got symmetry, right? Even if I burn my hand on one side of my hand, sometimes I'll burn it on the other side to make it even. And that's problematic for an electrician. If you get a shock on one side, I might take up something else. So the OHS said, but look, if it's not an OHS problem, I tell them at the interview and be honest. But look, my main point was that before the interview, get to the interview, and then they meet you, they meet who you are, the whole package, not just the predisposed package.
With this
Yeah.
particular one, they didn't have individual meetings, they were
Yes.
invited onto a group meeting.
Yeah,
But he said they did like a truth or dare sort of thing. They had to write down on a piece of paper 3 things.
Yeah.
One of them had to be,
It was 2 truths and a lie.
yeah, 2 truths and a lie. And he wrote down, I love ballroom dancing, I have Tourette's, and I've been to America.
Which one was the lie?
Been to America. He's never been to
All right,
America.
all right.
And you know, I think.
And how did it go?
So the actual, well, from the reaction was that, you know, one of the people from the company said, yeah, I think I might know which one. It's, you know, one of the
yeah.
truths. But, yeah, he did. He actually starts training next week.
Well, then, my general rule of thumb is get to the interview, and then deal with it there. Because people, look, I mean, it was that, what was that show about the lawyers in the 90s where Damien was on and everything, and they had some guy with Tourette's or some lady with Tourette's, and she was very terrible. What was it? Ellen Beale, that's right. And I mean, it was good in some ways, but in other ways, it put Tourette's down the coprolalia, and everyone's got this, oh, do you yell and scream, and do you do all these things, and I hardly do any of that stuff. So the thing is, yeah, I really think, like you mentioned a really good thing you said about safety. If it's a safety issue, deal with it. But otherwise, don't deal with it.
Yeah. All your friends said get the jobs at KFC and Macca's, and he says, oh, so it's taken him quite a while to find part-time employment, but he starts with a gaming store, starts training every week, and it's just, you know, the best feeling to know that he's gotten through. But just, yeah, I wonder whether he should, he doesn't have coprolalia, but he does things that...
Look, people are very good. Look, I know we're running out of time here, but people are very good. Look, but the bottom line is, I think people are very good. And look, I'm in a very public job. The professor told my parents, who was a psychology professor, told my parents, take me home and look after me. I'd do a factory job if I was lucky. I was mentally retarded, and I'd never do a public job. I'd be a teacher. And look, I'll tell you one little thing, very quick. We've got to go really quickly. One little thing. When I was young, a friend of the family who was an architect said to me, Dave, in architecture, if you can't hide something, make a feature of it. And I made a feature of it. And I'm like Robin Williams. Yeah, mate, you should be at my Christmas dinner. My brother's all got hyperactivity. We're like 5 Robin Williams at the table at once. Okay? And my poor mother used to go, we all settle down! But that's it. But the thing is, look, and the other thing, one really quick thing I want to say, I felt to say this, okay? We've got to teach our kids meekness, not weakness. People think meekness is weakness. Meekness is strength under control. A friend of mine was a travelling speaker. One day he was on the 747 and it landed and he didn't even wake up. Now you can't say a 747 jumbo jet is weak, but it landed so softly that it was meek. Meekness is great strength under control. And in the martial arts and things, they teach great strength under control. In other words, these people attack you, you've got the ability to take them down, but you don't, because you've got the choice. And I want to see young people with Tourette's get meekness. In other words, they got strength, they got confidence, and they got meekness. They got great strength under control. And anyway. That's about all the time we got. So, anyone, do you want to?
Yeah, we're going to break for lunch, and Dave's still here. So if you've got more questions, I'm sure that he'll be happy to chat.
Very happy to talk to you, any of you with any questions you've got. Okay, it'd be excellent. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Dave. It was fantastic.